This is The Future of Money, a podcast where we hope to educate and get educated about the new world of blockchain and digital money. And my name is Eric Den Boer, and I will be your host. Hi, and welcome back to Blockchain, The Future of Money. Today, we are actually going to talk about blockchain in media, which is really appropriate since we have our dear friend Lee here from KUAF. And we have Sarah with us today. Real quick, like we always do, a quick introduction. And we'll start with Lee.
Okay, my name's Lee Wood, and I am KUAF's general manager, and I might lose my voice. Let's just bear with me today.
Okay,
I talk too much. I'm going to listen a lot today. Yeah.
No, we're going to make you talk too much. Sarah.
I'm Sarah. Been in the space probably since around 2016. Now working kind of on enterprise blockchain solutions. So.
Right. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about the blockchain and in media. And one thing, I think we all can agree that we're starting to see more. It started with Bitcoin, where the news media, especially when it came to the money market and all that kind of stuff, they were talking about Bitcoin ups and downs and not good and all that kind of stuff. But I do think that we're starting to see more of the things of NFTs, talk about blockchains. Metaverse is obviously one of the big things now with Zuckerberg losing tons of money in this new space.
Yeah.
But really quick, so here I did a little bit of research. So the first time we actually saw Bitcoin or blockchain being mentioned or coming into media was actually Simpsons in 2013.
They're prophetic.
Yeah, they really are.
They really are. They said that Trump was going to be president in the 90s.
Yeah. That is true. I forgot that.
They're
Yes.
prophetic. Yeah.
And again, they came back to Simpsons in 2014. Mentioning Bitcoin. And here, for you who didn't know this, Marvel actually had in The Hunt for Wolverine 2014, we're mentioning Bitcoin too. And of course, one of my favorite shows was Mr. Robot that came out 2015. I loved that show. And actually in music, Soldier Boy. There you go. I'm sorry. I'm guessing you're not the only one with tongue twisting thing. Had a song actually named Bitcoin 2018. So yeah, It's been around for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think, to be honest, and I guess this is probably my opinion a little bit, but I think that people really started talking more about the blockchain and cryptocurrencies and other cryptocurrencies except from Bitcoin when Robinhood started in that space. You guys, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting, and we kind of talked on it too. Social media is just such a big factor for getting a lot of money in the door for a lot of these people and influencers and stuff like that. I think for me, what I heard, I believe it was before the Robinhood incident, was SafeMoon. Back when I think it was Jake Paul and a couple other influencers all basically started promoting SafeMoon, like their token, for people to start using their exchange, stuff like that. And it was just a classic pump and dump situation where they, had a bunch of people like, heck yeah, this is going to go to the moon, and then ended up just absolutely crashing. And they made a lot of money from it, but the everyday person didn't. But I thought that was like a influencer-led way that I saw. Even before some of the Robinhood stuff. I feel like Robinhood was kind of like community-led, more from the ground up than top down.
I agree and disagree a little bit, because I think that people like you and me that were already in the space, obviously we are drawn attention to things like that and saw it. But I do think that the mainstream people, because I started noticing friends that have never heard of, I had a friend coming and say, hey, I downloaded this Robinhood thing and there's something called Ethereum. What is that, right? So I started seeing the more spread out. That's my opinion anyway. When did you actually start hearing about cryptocurrency and blockchain for the first time?
Blockchain, it's difficult, I think, to pinpoint. I mean, Bitcoin certainly, but it was because of the booms and the busts. And I think that this is why we started this project, because I wasn't hearing, I think, and of course the media that I listen to the most is National Public Radio. I mean, that's part of my job. And they're covering this space really in sort of those newsworthy moments when there are booms and busts and when there's money that's been stolen or money that's been recovered and that kind of thing. But I wasn't hearing explanations of these functions. What is blockchain and how does this work? So I thought, that this was a gap, actually, in information where we can talk about where this came from, the history, the origin, how it functions, what's the use for most people. But I really can't. I mean, I've known the word blockchain, but I don't think I know that I didn't know what it was until I really started this with you.
Until we started digging into it. One thing I was thinking about also is that there was a period, if you went on YouTube, there was a lot of YouTubers and they were raking in money and just, and all that kind of stuff. And then now because Bitcoin has kind of stabilized and all that kind of stuff, so we see less and less of that. There are still some really good YouTubers out there that has really good information, I think. And I guess we can call YouTube, this a media too. So I guess that.
I mean, I think that media is a pretty umbrella term at this point that's talking about television, radio, news, even, social media. Yeah, it's pretty broad at this point in the game.
Yeah, since we're talking about social media, let's talk about social influencers.
Yeah.
What's her name now? Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian. Yeah, that was an interesting one. She was sued by the SEC, right?
Yes.
Not that long ago.
I think, and I think they've actually ruled on it already. Have they?
Well, I heard that there was a $1 million fine. So, give us a little background on that. What happened and why did this come up?
That's a great question. I didn't follow it too closely. It was one of those things where I probably read the headline and was like, oh, that's very interesting, and then read it once, kind of glanced through it. Also, to touch back on the Robinhood thing, I was thinking you were talking about like the GameStop scandal.
Oh,
that's So I think the crypto and Robinhood, that's been around. But that's where my mind jumped to.
Oh yeah, GameStop. I totally forgot that one.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yes.
That was huge.
I think as far as Kim Kardashian goes, she was promoting either an exchange or an NFT project, but I think an exchange. Correct me if I'm wrong if you guys know. Viewers at home, do your own research. But I believe she was supposed to put a social media post out or something for the platform and either did it and it wasn't legal or she didn't end up doing it and then got in some hot water. But I honestly didn't keep up too close with what that was.
Yeah, from what I understood, and I'm like you, I don't really follow the whole, especially not when it's celebrities. But from what I understand was that she promoted something and kind of knowingly knew that it wasn't 100%, and they went in and said, hey, but you're going to get really good paid and da-da-da. So it was that factor of knowing that it's not 100% clean, so to speak. So... well, since we're talking about it, how about Elon Musk and Twitter, right? That's a whole different ballgame.
I'm going to get in trouble if I really give my opinion on it.
So I know there's a lot of people talking about, and it seems to me, so here is what I think, and if I'm going to look a little bit into the future.
Does this correspond back to blockchain or crypto?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Definitely. There's a lot of talk about, him buying Twitter because he's going to let certain people back on again and freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff. And of course, people are leaving Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But here I read a very interesting article that was kind of buried down in all of the other, talks about this. And here's this guy, he said, you got to remember where Elon came from. He came from PayPal. So he is probably going to be using Twitter as a platform for payment. And I think I agree with him. Because we've seen, Facebook wanted to try to do a payment platform out of that. There was someone else also that was trying to do the same thing. And it hasn't been working for numerous reasons. But Elon can easily, because PayPal is already out there, everybody knows about it. It's already has the legal status, and SEC, and they're not going to complain about it. And he could easily incorporate that in the Twitter platform. I personally think that, he bought Twitter because, it's Twitter. But I think one of the main reasons is that he wants to get Twitter to become a payment platform. And then also remember that, 2 years or so ago, he went in and started really shilling Dogecoins. And he said, I'm going to make my daughter the first billionaire or whatever it was, right? And if she sits on all of these Dogecoins, cryptocurrencies, and they start using that as a payment in Twitter, well, guess where Dogecoins is going to go?
Yeah.
It's going to skyrocket. And then, so I'm not sure if he's going to be using Dogecoins. He might be using Bitcoin. Who knows? There are pluses and negatives with both of them, and I'm not going to go into that nitty-gritty. You can do your own research on that because it has to do with payment. But obviously using cryptocurrencies, when you can just imagine people that are paying with credit cards today, especially if you are a store, right? And you go into the store and they would prefer that you didn't pay with this or that credit card because there is so much fees involved in it, right? These fees will more or less go away when you start using cryptocurrencies because the fees for the transaction are so minimal. And then also you will have that ledger system that is all over the world so nobody can really tamper with it. So there's a lot of good reasons too why you should be using this. Is it going to be Bitcoin? Is it going to be Dogecoin? I don't know. What are your guys' opinion? This is just me speculating in the future, but what do you think? Could we be onto something here?
I would hope that Twitter would have payment integrations to hopefully Bitcoin and Dogecoin can mutually exist, and they'll have credit card, debit card on-ramps, off-ramps, and that like fiat to crypto integration will be huge because there's probably a lot of people who do own cryptocurrency, but it either just like sits in a MetaMask wallet somewhere or want to use that. But I think the flow and the payment system should be pretty advanced, and hopefully he doesn't isolate just to, okay, guys, we're all using Dogecoin for Twitter. I would hope. It's my hope that it's not like that. But, I mean,
it could be a whole different coin, too. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, the Twitter coin.
The Twitter coin.
You pay in tweets. Right, who knows?
Well, I think that right there is kind of the essential point that I want to make, and it may be unpopular in this group or with everybody, but it's, to me, first, he didn't really want to buy it, and then he got forced to buy it. He bluffed, and it makes total sense that he's going to capitalize a platform that was meant to just be sort of maybe in its most naive assessment, a democratic, platform where people could share their thoughts. And, the original idea was that you got 140 characters. It was short, and it was that kind of platform. And now, of course, it's going to become something where it's just everything is capitalized. And I don't think that every space has to be capitalized. That's me. I work for public radio. Duh. That's me. But so I don't see it as a positive move in any sense. I'll be very honest with you. But I'm not an Elon Musk fan. When you said, where did he come from? In my mind, I said, a diamond mine in South Africa, because that's where he came from. And I just don't see, I don't see how it is going to help in any sense the space, our country, the world. Anytime when you open the gates and freely and celebratory open the gates for a hate group and hate speech is not free speech. It has been determined. It doesn't matter how many times you say it, hate speech is not free speech. Then you're causing problems rather than solutions. And that's where I think Elon is in this moment for a while.
Yeah, I can. In certain aspects, I do agree with you. I don't know. I put my faith in humanity, and the thing here is, I think we're getting away from the crypto media a little bit. But just to explain how I think, it is that if we take Iran as an example, right? For a while, people were so tired of the Shah and all that kind of stuff, so they wanted to replace them with something. So they replaced it with religion. And then after X amount of years, people realized that, wait a second, this is not the way we want to go. And people, then stand up against it. If you take Twitter, for instance, or the free speech or hate speech, right? There's always going to be a small group that's going to hang on to people like that always. But I think overall, in general, I believe in people's kindness. And they will go, wait a second, okay, this couldn't be right. And eventually they will leave it, right? And we're seeing an upswing in the negativity here in the United States right now because of, and that's actually the politicians' own fault, I think. They have created this atmosphere.
Yes, yeah, and we have an enormous wealth gap. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe in humanity and kindness as well, but I also believe that you do not have agency if 1% owns 90% of
That
the
is true.
wealth.
Yeah.
So again, I think that does redirect us sort of back to this project. The whole idea, right, is about empowerment of people, because there is no doubt that these are going to be the systems that we use to buy things, to create contracts, to, exchange money. And the more knowledge and information that the average user can have is better for the entire system, in my opinion, rather than it just coming down and we have to use a system we don't know about. All of a sudden, I'm paying for all these things I didn't know about. I mean, it's about the empowerment of the people. You and I are on the same page for that, for sure.
Yeah, definitely when it comes to blockchain. And we've had these discussions before too, that, the blockchain and all of that is bringing back the ownership to the person. Right now, when you're on Facebook, you are the commodity. And here's the funny thing, I think, is that you don't even realize that all they needed to do was build this platform. You create the content. You create the content. You put the pictures in there. You do the likes. You do everything. And they are just raking in the money of everything that you do. You don't think about it. It's 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, or whatever it is. But if you compile all of that time and all of that data, then they're just sitting and looking and say, oh, that's free money for me. And they will continue going there. All right. Anyway, so one thing that I kind of was interested in. So does the crypto market influence the media's interest in this space, or has it moved more into what important people are starting to say about it?
Of those two choices, I would choose, I think they're paying more attention to the voices of the people who are talking about it. I mean, I think that's the gap, the news gap, is that reporting or investigations into the mechanics of these, the origins of the businesses, where they came from. I'm not seeing that as much as I'm seeing Kim Kardashian or NFTs of artists or musicians. I mean, that's kind of the nature of the news business, unfortunately. But I would say, I think there's more attention being paid to the voices. I mean, when we even talk about some of the movement toward regulation or making this a security, really it's just led by who are the legislators who are co-sponsoring the bill.
That's true.
It's not really the bill itself.
What do you think? Your opinion?
I mean, I would agree. And also, unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people, nobody's an expert in the space. We've covered that a million times. The loudest voices, unfortunately, a lot of the time are the experts in the space. They probably don't have what I've seen, especially you take like some of these influencers or social media, they don't even know the basics. They don't even really know the technology. It's like, okay, this really cool NFT project, even if it has utility, even if the project itself is cool or like whatever is being talked about, the fundamentals, I would definitely agree, just kind of aren't there and not taught. But then you almost don't want to look silly for missing that portion of like, okay, fundamentally, how does blockchain work? And then you can move to currency, then you can move to NFTs and anything you want. But it's a lot more flashy, and I agree also with, what's the best headline, and that's what people are going to pay attention to. And there's also just a gap in learning and educational tools to probably, split that difference too. So I would say the voices, but
exactly. One thing I was actually thinking about today was that we don't really see shilling. I'm going to explain. Shilling is when someone is going and promoting and constantly talking. So it's one of those popular words for it. But we don't see celebrities shilling as much now as they used to do, especially not after the whole NFT thing has gone down. Because it used to be, we saw a lot of celebrities going and talking about this NFT, or I'm part of this Bored Ape Yacht Club or whatever it is. But you don't see that anymore. It's kind of like, that kind of died out.
Well, I think maybe the lawsuit against Kim Kardashian had something to do with it.
True that.
And it's there's no experts in the space and there's no regulation really in the space. So it's like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And I feel like the entrepreneurs or the people who are going to be interested in this as a means to make money or to sell a product are going to be the ones that are going to talk first about it or shill for it. And then maybe they're getting punished, which is, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, there's no rules really, So
it so reminds me of the 90s and the .com boom, right? And you had all of these experts talking about, and you will have these projects that didn't really sell anything, right? And eventually it kind of just stabilized, and out of that grew the internet that we have today that everybody's involved in, So, you're going to always have that good and bad,
So, because we've said this before, that maybe we're in that time of where we're trying to figure it out, and there will be booms and busts, and people will make a lot of money, and then people will lose a lot of money before it becomes the standard, which is coming. Yeah. It's coming.
Yeah, personally, I really hope that the big losers out of all of this is going to be the big banks, and that people that, can start controlling them.
Elon Musk as well.
Okay. So I don't
want to take it back there.
I think Elon to me is a coin that has two sides.
Sure.
Right? There's good and there's bad in it. I had a discussion one day when I was at the gym, and this woman at the counter started talking about, now they're all, flying up to the moon and their rocket ships and everything. And if they took all of that money and gave it to the poor people, it would be a better world. And I was like, well, I guess you can say that. But on the other hand, these are the guys, when they're building these rocket ships and putting all of that money into these stupid toys that they're doing, just to say that, hey, I was the first one flying up there. But they are moving technology and stuff forward that we all will gain from. Because the person on the street is not going to sit at home and build a rocket ship. They don't have the money. And the same thing is here with Meta and Zuckerberg, right? Go ahead, buddy. Plow all your money in there and do all of that. Because what you're doing, all of those mistakes that you are making 10 years from now, those mistakes we have learned from, and we built the platform that we all can share from. So in a weird way, is giving back money. And I know it's a long shot.
No, it's just, you're fine. And we don't need to, this is a totally different conversation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I know. Okay, we got on the topic. Should we go back then?
Yeah.
Does media really have the impact on regular people's interest in the Web3, metaverse, blockchain, and NFT talks?
Say it again?
Does media really have an impact on regular people's interest in the Web3, or do you think that it's the other way around? That people are people that are interested in this are seeking this out from the media to learn, or is it that people in the media are starting to bombard us with this, and now people are starting to get more and more interested in it?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think that's
tricky
interesting.
Question.
It is a tricky question because it's such a circular thing, like the media sees what the people are doing, what the people are interested in, but also like the people are interested in these things because the media is feeding it to them. So it's kind of like a
little bit of both, right?
It's hard to decide. I think also where the market is just completely changes things, and how people talk about it, where it's being talked about, stuff like that. I think because we're kind of in a lull right now, you are seeing things in the media, but it's more of like, oh, Kim Kardashian, and again, not like the technology. So I think this is a really great time for people who are interested, are kind of self-serving a little bit, and hopefully spending the time to actually learn how this works. Either, there's a place in the industry for anything you're doing, either if you're a developer, if you're in marketing, if you're, product, and even just project management. But I think that right now people are probably self-serving a little bit more than even you take like a year ago. But it's kind of hard to determine if that's people and then media or media then people.
Well, one thing I have noticed, especially since I'm also running the blockchain meetup, Northwest Arkansas Blockchain Meetup Group, you're welcome to join, is that whenever the cryptocurrencies are, is going up, there's more people coming to the meetings, they're more interested and all that kind of stuff. And then suddenly it's like, yeah, crypto's not going so good, so yeah, I'm just going to stay home and play video games or something, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that from my perspective, it's definitely that people who are interested are seeking out the information. I mean, the meetup group is a good example, and just more and more people coming to the space and looking for information. I think right there, that's kind of an indicator. If there was a wealth of information coming out from media, then some of these folks, you may not get as good attendance. You may not get as good interest. Mm-hmm. But I think people are seeking out information that is not readily available. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I would 100% agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing I have noticed with the meetup group is that there was a lot of people that was just interested in the crypto and all that kind of stuff. But lately, people that are joining are people that honestly has really, really interest in the blockchain, how you can use that. And especially one of the things I've noticed lately is because of the Web3 talk, and metaverse and stuff like that. So the people that are joining now are honestly really interested in this, and they are more dedicated. And surprisingly, I have noticed we are getting more and more people, and of course we're living in the Northwest Arkansas area, and Walmart country, and I'm seeing people from that space coming more and more to these meetings because they are realizing that, oh, wait a second, there is something going on here. We need to learn this. We had one guy came in and he said, yeah, I've been doing this for Walmart for blah, blah, blah so many years. I'm actually going to start because I've heard the rumors we are going towards this, and I want to be on that train. Yeah. So I've seen that much more. That doesn't really have much to do with media, but actually, and he found us through, because I'm posting these podcasts on LinkedIn. He saw it on LinkedIn, and he's like, I need to talk to these people. Nice. So in a way, media had its influence. Yeah. Thank you, KUAF, and thank you, Fayetteville Public TV, Absolutely. For letting us do this. I am so humble to be in your presence.
So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you see people from banks, from investment firms coming to this as well? Like, so the target that you're seeing this is going to fundamentally change their industry, are those folks coming?
We've actually had... I don't want to say that they're constantly and always there, but we've had people from that area coming to our meetups, and stuff like that. And we were at the Tech Summit recently, and there was two people, two different occasions that they came up to me and they said, hey, we went to one of your meetups. Can we talk some more about that? And they actually both of them came from the banking area. So. They were both more, they said that if it is going to be what they say that it is, that it's going to in fact affect the bankings, we want to know ahead of time so maybe we can do some changes or maybe even help out in this area, right? So, yeah, a little bit, yeah. But,
Yeah, no, I was just going to say it's so hard on the banking side of things too, just because that is really where some of this regulatory stuff comes into play. And so I think it's also kind of, we definitely have seen them, but there's so much uncertainty about where it's going, how it's going to be regulated, for them to even like really step into it. I think there's probably talks in the boardroom somewhere, and there's interest, but it's, I think, the bridging the gap between just being interested and how is this actually going to affect the industry or like my job and what we're doing is still to be decided. There's
murky.
little,
Well, one thing I do think is going to help this is actually because we are in a little bit of a financial crisis right now with inflations and everything. They are looking at ways, how can we change this? How can we make this better? How can we make sure? Because again, to be really honest, why do we have a crisis? Why do we have a financial crisis? And most of you people think it's because of the war and everything else. But if you really start digging in, you will see and you will notice it has to do with banks again. The last time it was the banking market went in and started borrowing us on the house market and stuff like that. This time what they're doing is actually in the business sector doing exactly the same thing like they did before. Just do your research and you'll find out the reason to why we have inflation and stuff going on right now. It's not because of wars and it's not because of COVID. It's because of the banks, what they're doing. And you can just China, for instance, they're having their the real estate bubble now. But we're going off track again. I am so sorry. But hey, so I know we are running out of time like always, and time just flies when we're sitting here, and I love it. I do have a question. Mm-hmm. What would you like for us to talk about? Give me something that you. What are the topics that we haven't really talked about that you would like for us to bring up?
Oh my gosh,
that goes for you too.
Yes.
Just email us and let us know if there's something in particular within this space that you would like to do or talk to. Like Web3, what is that? Metaverse. Where are we going with Metaverse?
I'm interested really in Metaverse, and because its development is happening right now, and Walmart has come out and said it, and of course Facebook, and so I would like to have a better understanding of what its use will be and what our interface, our use will be within it.
Yeah, because that is my area. That's where I'm digging into, and this is what I'm learning, and I have. Started joining some of these groups that are really, really looking into what the metaverse is going to be. But, the thing is with metaverse, there's so much. If I say digital twin, part of metaverse, blockchain, part of metaverse, VRs, part of metaverse, all of this, you can just say it and it's part of metaverse. So metaverse is, I want to say, is another word for internet.
Yeah.
And we can say that we had the static internet was Web 1, we have Web 2, Web 3, and Web 3 and metaverse is all of that is going to be combined in there. So Web 3 is a part of metaverse. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, I like that. We should definitely talk about that. Anything that you should?
No, I think that'd be great. I think definitely kind of going back to some of the what, when, why, how, and kind of digging back into the meat, and just really talking about that at any capacity would be fun. I think Web3 and Metaverse are definitely some hot vocab words right now that everybody can probably relate to and want to talk about. So yeah, I think that would be a fun one. And there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So much to talk about.
All right, so wrapping this up, please give us a shout if there's anything else that you guys want to talk about. And thank you guys so much again. Thanks. And we will see you the next time.